The program that I have chose is Focabulary. My name is Erica Erd. Some general information is that this was published by Nearpod and copyrighted in 2020. The major skill areas include language arts, math, science, social studies, life skills, vocabulary, and current events. The target population is social and emotional learning, building a classroom culture with a beat, making SEL exciting and relevant for learners and easy for educators to teach. Global citizenship is where the curriculum is connected to real world and inspires discussion. English language learners also fit into this because of the multi-modal instruction with music and videos, which makes the learning engaging and accessible. And for vocabulary development, it's focused for vocabulary instruction and practice throughout every lesson, which helps boost literacy and reading skills. A bit about Focabulary is that they are committed to fostering a love of learning in every student. Here it says, our story starts with history. At the core of Focabulary is hip-hop, a cultural movement started by Black and Latinx youth in New York in the early 70s. It's important to understand the history and the socio-cultural and economic circumstances from which hip-hop emerged when teaching with Focabulary. They take a bunch of different cultures and create these hip-hop videos using these students. They're very intriguing and engaging. And here's when their journey began with just a simple idea. In 2003, the idea of Focabulary was born. First came the co-founder, which was Blake Harrison. In high school, he began thinking of a way to take his favorite rap song and make it to where he could memorize his new vocabulary words using the favorite rap. In 2004, the idea became reality. This is when Blake met Alex Rappaport, and this was while he was working in San Francisco. They began creating an SAT rap for their Spark Notes so that it could help them do better on their SAT. In 2010, the Focabulary became proven, and a study was conducted that found Focabulary to be a significant increase for vocabulary proficiency among many different students when they began producing the videos and working with different artists around the world. And then in 2019, Focabulary and Nearpod joined forces, and this is when they were able to start increasing students' engagement and achievement for millions of students around the world. Their mission really shows throughout this whole program, and that they are committed to fostering a love of learning in every student. They really make the videos fun, and they have a catchy jingle to where you find yourself repeating them in your head even after you're done listening to these lessons. Focabulary offers engaging lessons for every subject. Every lesson is an opportunity to bring the curriculum to life and reinforce core knowledge as well as skills. Lesson sequences go video first, then vocabulary cards, vocabulary games, read and respond, quiz, and then lyric lab. Vocabulary impacts a lot on teaching and learning. It increases vocabulary knowledge, raises state test scores, engages underserved students. It focuses on the vocabulary across the curriculum, and it's culturally responsive pedagogy. English language learners gain a lot of great resources from this, as well as students with IEPs. And Focabulary is very balanced literacy as well. Some research and field-tested data. On average, students scored 25% higher on state reading tests after using Focabulary. District leaders learn turn to Focabulary to meet ambitious literacy and SEL goals. Educators and administrators bolstered vocabulary instruction and Flocabulary. Rooted within research, Flocabulary's multimodal approach to standard-based instruction reaches all learners where they are and engages them in rigorous academic content. Within their research-based videos and activities build the background knowledge and vocabulary students need in order to be successful. So looking at the cost, it states that best for individuals is the Lite, which is $10 a month. And then the most popular with school and admins is what they call the School. And then the next is Smartest Choice for multiple schools in a district, which they consider calling it the district. Here we are looking at the plan that would be best for us. If we chose for the individual teacher, for the Lite is what they are considering it would be $10 a month and you're billed annually. What you get with this package is hundreds of standards aligned lessons, which include videos and activities for all K through 12 subjects, weekly lesson covering the top news, headlines, and current events, printable quizzes and activities to accompany each lesson, student video, and activity access. This one you really don't get a whole lot with, but you do get some good quality work that you can view with just $10 a month. Looking at this next package, which they are considering calling the School, it is the most popular with school admins. You get exactly what the Lite includes, plus additionally you get activity assignments for entire class or individual students, visibility into the student activity results, dashboards to track student performance, building wider district-wide access for all teachers and students, LTI support, Cleaver, and Google Classroom integrations. This one would be really good. The nice thing about the integration is a lot of schools here in Wenatchee Valley use both Google Classroom and Clever, especially right now with everything that's going on with distance learning. The one for the district, it is custom pricing, and they say it's the smartest choice for multiple schools in a district. The only thing different than the School package is that you get the dedicated training. I'm not sure how valuable that is, but I would definitely, if I had a choice, would most likely be looking into this School package, just because there's a lot of great information and a lot of great things that you can access. And having that student dashboard to me is really nice, just having it right there at my fingertips. So for characteristics related to students, it has text-to-speech, peer discussion prompts, and slower speeds. Vocabulary is incorporated into every lesson to build academic vocabulary within each subject. For characteristics related to teaching, educators use the Flocabulary to support the 3 principles of universal design for learning. The lessons are created based on Common Core state standards, so you go into the program and you select which state you are and then the grade that you would like to teach. The teacher picks the lesson based on the Common Core state standard that they're focusing on at the moment for the lessons, and then the teacher basically chooses the speed at which the lesson is completed. So like I have mentioned before, these lessons on Flocabulary are completed as first the teacher presents the video to the class, then the students complete the vocabulary game, or going over the vocabulary words, seeing what they mean, and then doing the vocabulary game on their own. And then they read and respond, so they read a prompt and then respond to the question. Then they take a quiz, and then they create what is called a lyric lab, and it's just something that will help them better memorize the definitions for the vocabulary words. The pace of the content, like I mentioned before, is based upon the teacher and the teacher's determination of how the students are understanding and following along. The organization of the material is very easy to access, select, and follow the sequence for completion. And the sequence of lessons begins as an introductory of the topic and then progressively gets more difficult. As the lesson progresses, it requires the students to apply their own knowledge. So here is a look at
Here I have selected a math lesson for Common Core State Standards of comparing numbers on the Focabulary site. And I just wanted to show you how the steps are to follow this lesson. So first, the students will watch this short clip, and then we move on to the next, which is vocabulary cards. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the clip.
Yeah, let's compare. Yeah, let's compare. Yeah, let's compare. Yeah. We compare numbers to show which are larger, smaller, and which are the same. Yeah, let's compare. We compare numbers to show which are equal, greater, and less than. Yeah, let's compare. We compare numbers to show which are larger, smaller, and which are the same. Yeah, let's compare. We compare numbers to show which are equal, greater, and less than. Yeah, let's compare. Today we're going to compare numbers. A number line like this will help us. It shows the numbers getting bigger from left to right. Let's start with this group of steps. Alright, alright, alright. There are 7 steps here and 4 steps there. Now let's use the number line to compare. 7's to the right of 4, so it is larger. So 7 is greater than 4. 7 is greater than 4. But what about 3 apples here and 8 apples there? Yeah, 8 apples there. 3 is left of 8 on the number line, so it's smaller when compared. 3 is less than 8. Yeah. Now there are 4 rocks.
So now that we have an idea of what the rap looks like and shows as a demonstration, let's take a look at vocabulary cards. So here we have 5 vocabulary words of compare, equal, greater, less, and number line. So we select the word, and it says that the definition is to examine 2 or more things to see their similarities and differences. And then it goes on to give us a little more tidbit on what the word is and how to tell. So now that we have looked at one of the vocabulary cards, let's move on to what the vocabulary game looks like. So it says drag the missing word into place. How about 6 compared to 9? Well, I know that 6 is less than 9. Alrighty, so this will just go to help the students gain a better understanding of the vocabularies used and what it means to make smaller and larger numbers. When we get to read and respond, we come to a few questions where we read the story that they give us, or whatever it may be, whatever subject we're looking at. And then we go down here and we select which one works best. So after we have completed that, we would move to the quiz. And then the students would complete the quiz, and the teacher has a roster with all of the students in his or her roster, and this is where the teacher will get
the feedback as to how the students are understanding the subject and how well that they did on the quiz. So this is where the students would kind of create their own rhyme to help them remember the vocabulary words and how to perform comparing numbers to know whether they're equal, greater, or less, as well as using a number line.
So, for my personal reaction, I think that this would be a great app to have within your school or district. I believe that there are some very valuable resources that can be used within the classroom. With our crazy world and the times that we are living, I think that it would also be a beneficial program for both students and teachers for the distance learning. This would allow the students to select the speed of completion themselves, as well as repeat the content as many times as needed in order to understand the content. I can see myself using this in math, science, language arts, social studies, not just for the lesson, just to use bits and pieces, like showing the vocabulary videos. I think that those are very beneficial to a lot of students because it helps them to understand and memorize the words and their definitions a lot better and faster. It also really helps the different learning types within your classroom and the ELL students. One thing that this program doesn't specify or create for you is classroom management. It's basically just the teacher and figuring out a classroom management program that works the best. But I would still look into this program and think strongly about having it within my own classroom.